Well, I really started dog training. It was a natural progression through my military career. I joined the Air Force right out of high school and always had an interest in law enforcement, and I really always had an affinity with dogs. They were always attracted to me. I mean, anytime if there was a dog in the house, I was right there with him. So it really just became a natural progression. When I joined the Air Force, when I got my first duty station was in England, and I got there, and some of the friends I hung out with were, both of my better friends were dog handlers. So that's really where my love for dog training kind of kicked in. And I started really jumping off in the deep end, being a decoy and getting bit and chased down as a bad guy and all that with dogs. And that's where my love for it grew. About halfway through my military career, I got married, had kids and all that good stuff. And my son we were actually shipped back to stateside because my son had some medical issues that we were dealing with. And when I got back stateside, that's where I really started pushing, and I actually put my application in to become a dog handler for the military. I wanted to do it as soon as I got in the military, but at the time there was a stipulation based on they wanted to make sure you had a certain year commitment to be able to do that. So in 1999 is when I went through the Department of Defense Dog Training School. Went down to San Antonio, and right out of there I got stationed at Lackland Air Force Base as a dog handler. I spent several years as a dog handler, working my way up, starting as a drug dog and patrol dog handler, worked my way up into becoming an explosive dog handler to where I deployed for Operation Enduring Freedom and many, many deployments as far as that goes. Right after September 11th, I deployed. I was actually 10 days after September 11th. I deployed, and I was overseas in the desert with my dog. It was supposed to be a short tour, of course, supposed to be 3 months, and 8 months later I finally come home. And my two sons at the time were 3 and 4 years old, and when I got off the plane they didn't recognize who I was. And that's at the point where you have to put family or business, and for me family came first. So a couple of my friends were working at the Department of Defense Training School, and I put my application in to go over there, and they took me in with open arms, and I became an instructor for the Department of Defense for my last 3 years of my military career. Once that was up, they pretty much told me that I was going to get a dog, and back to the desert it was. And again, I just couldn't do that to my sons and family. So I put in my paperwork to get out of the military, and we moved here to Dallas. Got here to Dallas, and I applied with several police departments thinking I was going to jump on. A lot of the sheriff's departments around the area were jumping at the chance, but unfortunately when you deal with sheriff's departments, you have to put yourself through the police academy, and just getting out of the military and not having a job, I didn't have the money to do that. So looking around on several of the internet forums, my wife was actually talking to several people on one of the internet forums a lady had a question about a dog. My wife asked me, how would you fix that? I pretty much told her step by step how to fix it, and one thing led to another, and the lady was, hey, I'd pay you to train my dog. So I trained a couple of dogs for free, and just pretty much for the love of it. They give me something to do while I was applying for police departments, and it took off from there. We opened up our company in 2005, in June of 2005, and we've been training dogs ever since. My specialty while I was in the military, I was the NCOIC of the patrol section, which I specialized in the controlled aggression work, agility, building search, tracking, things along that lines, gunfire tolerance, all that. So I've really brought that knack over here to the civilian world. And like I said, I've always had an affinity with dogs, and for some reason, even the aggressive dogs take to me very well. So I've always found it very easy to work with them. And I've been able to do a lot of work here on the civilian side now that I've been out with aggressive dogs with anxiety issues, where other trainers find it hard to deal with those specific issues. It really comes naturally to me. So, and that's really where my training, and as far as the civilian side, kind of kicked off.